All right. Tennessee Tech head coach Bobby Wilder, the team getting ready to start the FCS playoffs, hosting North Dakota this weekend. Coming off a perfect OVC Big South season with a win against UT Martin last weekend. Coach, let's start there. Win over UT Martin. You claimed the second straight OVC Big South crown and first outright conference title in 50 years for the program. Just talk about that. Sum up the end to the regular season.
Well, compliments to Jason Simpson and Tennessee Martin. That was an elite level college football game. It was playoff atmosphere. It was clearly a big game for both of us. It was well played, no turnovers, very few penalties, field position, a lot of strategy within the game. And what I was most proud of is being down 17 to 10 with 7 minutes to go. We had to drive the length of the field to score and tie it. Then we got the ball back with a minute 20 to go on our own 21-yard line and drove the field and set up the last second field goal to win the game. So extremely well played game. A lot of respect for Jason Simpson and Tennessee Martin. Extremely proud of our guys. We played really well in the second half all year. We played really well in the fourth quarter and the end of games, and it shows having a veteran quarterback like Keikoa Vesperis, veteran players that can handle the moment. They practice those situations at a high level, and that allows them to perform those situations in a game at a high level.
Koa named to the Walter Payton Award watch list. Surely he's going to be the OVC Big South Offensive Player of the Year. What you were saying, you're all down, 17-10, and you score twice in 3 minutes, basically, two long drives. Just talk about that composure your team had to know they're going to make the plays to win the game.
Yeah, we needed all three phases to complement each other at the end of the game. And generally, when you get in those situations, Kyle, end of the game where everything's on the line, you're going to need something from all three phases. And I mentioned what Keikoa and the offense did. Incredible catch by Brian Courtney on a 3rd and goal from the 9 to tie the game. And then we needed a big stop by the defense. Martin was driving, had the ball at midfield. Aaron Swafford with a sack for minus 12 yards. We were able to stop him, got an incompletion on 3rd down, which allowed us to save one of our timeouts. When we got the ball back with a minute 20 on our own 21, we were more comfortable in that situation to go and not play for overtime because we had the ability to move the ball. We had the timeout, so we could keep using the middle of the field with the timeout. That also would allow for the end of game, if the clock was running down, to have that timeout and set up the field goal. And then Dom LeBlanc and our field goal operation executed perfectly to hit that game winner with 15 seconds. So as a general rule in those end of games, you need offense, defense, and special teams to all perform at a high level, and we did. We had all three phases in the last 3 minutes perform at a high level.
You just said Brian Courtney. I don't think we've talked about him enough this year. He caught the touchdown, but then he had the big, and I was just looking, 24-yard catch there in the last drive that basically set the field goal. And you were talking about him being one of the best tight ends you've ever coached.
Yeah, so impressed with Brian Courtney. He joined us this past summer. He had played at Florida State previously, primarily special teams, played in 38 of 39 games, but didn't get much of an opportunity to play the tight end position. And Brian was a high school quarterback, and there's such an advantage to tight ends, receivers, safeties that were high school quarterbacks because they're so used to those moments. And he found a seam on that 24-yarder between the linebackers under the safety and made the play and initially broke the tackle. That's why that wasn't a 14-yard gain. It was 24 yards, and that was instrumental in putting us in field position. And I did mention on Sunday in our coaches all conference call that I've been doing this for 34 years, and he's the best overall tight end that I've had the privilege of coaching. His ability in the run game, he's so smart. His ability to run routes, catch the ball, he's very reliable, and he made some really big catches at the end of the half when we were down 10-0 and went in 2-minute drill and kicked a field goal, and there were two big catches from him. So on every drive we scored in this game, Brian Courtney had something to do with it.
One more question about that before we talk about the playoffs. Just what is it like to win that in front of your home crowd and just give them something they had wanted, a back-to-back, but an outright title too, and just that feeling to be at home and do it.
Yeah, there were so many monumental things that happened, and you mentioned doing it in front of the home crowd, and President Oldham and his wife on the sideline. Just so many people that in the 23 months I've been here have grabbed a shovel and jumped in the ditch and been digging right alongside us. The monumental moments you mentioned being 8-0 and winning the league outright. We were 6-2 last year and tied with three other really good teams. So we were 14-2 in the OVC the last 2 years. Saturday was our 11th win. That's the first time in 104 years of Tennessee Tech football that a team has won 11 games. No team had ever started 10-0. That was monumental. No team had ever been ranked as high as Tennessee Tech has been ranked this year. So all of those special things that happened this year, and to have a football game like that game, how well played that was by both teams, so much excitement, so much strategy, and then at the end of it to be able to share the championship trophy at the presentation with the fans that stayed, with all the administration, the players, the coaches, everybody got to enjoy that moment. So to have it happen at home was certainly even more special, winning that championship.
Let's turn the page then to the playoffs, something that hasn't happened a lot for Tech recently, or in their FCS history. And you're gonna get North Dakota. It's going to be at home on Saturday. So just thoughts about the playoffs and that opponent.
Well, first of all, very excited to be in the playoffs. When this starts at the beginning of the year, there's 130 teams that are all working for this moment, and we're one of the 24 that get to compete for a national championship. So just saying that gets me excited. Just knowing that we have this opportunity, this privilege, we're playing a very good football team. North Dakota was 7-5 this year in the Missouri Valley, which is clearly the best FCS football conference in the country. They have six teams in this tournament, and all six are deserving. North Dakota lost 5 games this year, all by a touchdown or less. They lost at Kansas State, a P4 team, 38-35. They played the defending national champions, North Dakota State, who's 12-0, ranked number one. It was 15-10, and North Dakota had the ball at the end of the game and threw a pass into the end zone that was intercepted. That's how close they were to beating the defending national championships. They're well balanced. They're built for that league, Kyle. Their style of football. They're well balanced on offense. They run for 200. They throw for 200. Defense, they only give up 100 yards a game rushing, a little under 200 passing. So they give up under 300 yards a game. They're very difficult to score on, and then they're exceptional in all their special teams. Eric Smith's one of the best coaches in the country, in my opinion, has an excellent defensive background throughout his career. So this is a well-coached football team. It's going to be a challenge. And as I told our players, this is what you want. You want to be in the playoffs. You want to play the best teams in the country and just find out how good you are as a football team. And very excited that this game's at home.
There's no easy games in the playoffs, right? What are one or two keys then in this specific matchup, for your team to come out with a victory?
Well, both teams do a really good job of protecting the football and taking the ball away. We're both plus in the turnover ratio. So if we can get an advantage in that area, that's a plus. Both teams do a relatively good job limiting penalties, especially us in our past month. We've been much better in that category. Both teams are really good on third down, offensively, defensively. Both teams are good in the red zone. Both teams kick the ball well. So the areas you really look at, Kyle, in the playoffs, what generally makes a difference are the turnovers, the penalties, the field position. Those three are really critical factors when you get into a playoff game, because most of these games are tightly contested. And then when you get in the fourth quarter, who's going to make a play? I mean, both teams' best players have to play their best football at the end of the game, and that's generally who ends up winning the football game.
Last question, we'll let you go then. You said, you're glad you're doing it at home. How much is a home field advantage worth in the playoffs?
Based on statistics, it means a lot. The home team generally can have more success. It's a little bit harder this weekend, Kyle, because it's Thanksgiving weekend. we're on fall break. Everybody at our campus, our president, President Oldham, our athletic director, Casey Fox, our community leaders, everybody is doing the best they can to try to get as many people to this game. But it's a challenging weekend. It always is the first weekend in FCS playoffs when you play on that Thanksgiving weekend. So hopefully we can create a really good environment. We're comfortable in our environment. We're 7-0 at home. This year, we're 11-1 in 2 years playing in home games. So we've had a lot of success playing at home, and we need to use that as an advantage against a very good North Dakota team.
And Coach, thanks for your time this morning. Best of luck against North Dakota, and we hope we're talking to you again this time.